Ever feel like your brain's lagging in the middle of a World of Tanks match?
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Like you're making all the wrong calls.
Well,
Today, we're diving deep into the psychology of winning those tricky matches.
you got it.
Using your brain power to outsmart and outplay your opponent.
The real battlefields between your ears.
Exactly. All thanks to this amazing blog about psychology and gaming.
Cool, yeah.
I was blown away. Our brains have something called working memory.
Oh, yeah. It's like
Yeah, like RAM in a computer.
RAM in a computer.
Only so much we can process at once.
It's true.
Well,
and it's actually called Miller's magic number.
Okay.
The average person can juggle about 5 to 9 chunks of information
Okay.
at a time. Think about World of Tanks, enemy positions, your team's status, terrain, ammo,
Yeah.
reload times. It's just too much, right?
It's information overload.
It is.
So my brain is a Lonith lagging in a firefight.
That's a great way to put it. But the good news is
Okay, good.
there are ways to manage this, this mental lag.
Okay.
The blog talks about chunking.
Chunking.
Yeah, you group information together to simplify it. You know, think about those pro StarCraft players.
Yeah.
They're not thinking about every individual unit, right?
Yeah.
They're thinking about formations,
Oh.
attack groups, strategic objectives. You see what I mean?
Oh, okay, I see. I'm starting to see how this applies to the World of Tanks.
Yeah.
So instead of tracking every enemy on the minimap,
Yeah.
I should just focus on the biggest threats.
Exactly. Prioritize the information right. You free up your working memory.
Okay.
Then you can make
Okay.
faster decisions,
Gotcha.
more strategic decisions.
Okay.
It's like clearing out your RAM so your CPU can focus on the important stuff.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So chunking helps us
Yeah.
deal with too much information.
Yeah.
Right. But what about when I'm, let's say, pulling off a maneuver while also listening to teammates on comms?
Yeah.
It feels like my brain's gonna explode.
Well, there's a reason for that.
Uh,
It's called dual task interference.
Dual task interference.
It means our brains aren't great at doing complex stuff
Yeah.
while also thinking deeply at the same time.
Oh, tell me about it.
Right.
I once tried explaining strategy to a friend while driving.
Oh,
Almost ended up in a ditch.
I can imagine.
Not my finest moment.
That's a perfect example. It highlights why muscle memory for basic tank controls is so important.
Okay.
The more automatic those actions become, the less brain power they need.
Okay, I gotcha.
This
So practice till I can do it in my sleep.
exactly.
So my brain can focus on outsmarting the other guy.
You got it. And that leads us to
Okay.
cognitive load theory. Too much information, right? Or poorly presented information, it just hinders us. It hinders our learning and decisions.
Wait, all those fancy graphs and stats mods? Are they hurting my game?
Not necessarily, but be mindful. Yeah.
Okay.
How much info are you taking in? The blog suggests focusing on a single objective
Okay.
at a time, breaking maneuvers into smaller steps,
Gotcha.
keeping communication simple, to the point.
Okay.
Reduce that cognitive load, you see.
Yeah, I'm digging this mental game stuff.
Right.
It's like there's a whole other layer to World of Tanks.
Absolutely.
But before we move on,
Yeah.
tell me more about this Feynman technique.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds like a Jedi mind trick.
Not quite a Jedi mind trick,
Okay.
but it's powerful.
Right.
The idea is you solidify your understanding, right? By pretending to teach it
Okay.
to someone else.
So, like, I'd explain a flanking maneuver to my teammate.
Exactly.
Okay.
But here's the kicker.
Mm-hmm.
By explaining it,
Yeah.
you break it down
Okay.
to its simplest form.
Mm.
You identify gaps in your knowledge.
Cool.
You solidify it in your own mind.
Wait, so explaining things makes me better at the game.
Absolutely. Like, say you're trying to master
Okay.
the IS-7
Okay.
to create a distraction,
Uh-huh.
while your mediums flank the enemy
Okay.
from the west
Right.
on Prokhorovka.
Okay, I'm listening. This sounds like exactly the kind of situation where I usually mess up.
Well, imagine explaining to a friend
Yeah?
how to angle the IS-7 to maximize that armor.
Okay, yeah.
How to bait the enemy
Right.
into a choke point, and then the timing for your mediums to strike.
I could see how thinking it through like that would help me avoid those panic decisions that usually get me blown up.
Exactly. Exactly.
This is amazing.
It is?
But what about multitasking?
Oh, multitask.
Isn't that like a gamer superpower?
That's a myth. our brains can't actually do multiple things at once.
Ah.
It just feels like multitasking.
Okay.
It's rapid task switching.
Oh.
Each switch
Yeah.
has a cost in focus and accuracy.
So checking the mini-map while dodging shells
Yeah.
is making me worse.
That's what the research says.
Wow.
It's better to prioritize,
Okay.
evade first,
Right.
then check the mini-map,
Okay.
then communicate.
Hmm.
Focusing on one thing at a time
Makes sense.
makes you more effective.
Okay. So we've learned about memory limits,
Yeah,
chunking information,
Yeah.
the dangers of multitasking, and the Feynman technique.
right.
But you mentioned something earlier
Yes.
about cognitive warfare.
Yes,
That sounds intense.
it is. And that's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
You can use these principles
Uh-huh.
to manipulate your opponents.
Wait, are you saying I can use psychology to trick enemies?
Exactly. Get inside their heads.
Tell me more. This is where it gets really interesting. Yeah.
It is indeed. It's about getting inside their heads, right?
Yeah, making them play your game.
Exactly. Now, remember those psychological tactics? We talked about feints and diversions.
Right. Classic military strategy.
Yeah, but incredibly effective in World of Tanks. Okay, think about Himmelsdorf, yeah?
No, Himmelsdorf. Tight urban combat.
Yeah, too many corners.
Too many places to get ambushed.
Exactly. So you're in a heavy tank, like an E100.
Okay.
You push aggressively down one of the main streets, making a lot of noise, drawing attention.
Okay, I see where this is going.
Your opponent sees you, right?
Yeah.
Thinks, aha, easy target.
Yeah.
They focus fire on you.
Commit some tanks to counter.
But that's exactly what you want.
That's what you want them to do.
Yeah, because while they're distracted,
Yeah.
your medium tanks, maybe some Leopard 1s, are flanking around, hitting them from the side.
Oh, that's like a bait and switch.
It is. You make them think you're going one way.
Then, bam, counterattack.
So you create a distraction
You play on their expectations.
and exploit their misdirection.
That's a good feint. Tactical advantage.
This is incredible. I've been missing out
Right.
by just reacting instead of predicting and manipulating.
Predicting, yeah.
But what about those cognitive biases you mentioned?
Yes. Mental shortcuts, basically.
Mental shortcut.
Our brains use them to make decisions quickly. Often helpful in everyday life, but in World of Tanks,
Yeah.
exploitable.
This is starting to sound like mind control.
No, it's quite mind control. Okay, there's this one, the availability heuristic.
Okay.
People overestimate the likelihood of events.
Okay.
Ones that are easily recalled, vivid in their memory.
So, like, if I just got wrecked by a certain tank, I'm more likely to be afraid of it next time.
Exactly. A savvy player can use this.
Okay.
Say you're in a Gro 15, a fast tank destroyer.
Yeah.
You've been picking off tanks from a hidden spot.
Even if you've only taken out a couple, the enemy is now hyper aware. They're
Yeah.
looking over their shoulders.
Constantly expecting me to strike.
They're playing scared, basically.
So more cautious, more hesitant.
Easier to outmaneuver.
Their fear becomes my weapon
Exactly. A psychological advantage.
without even firing a shot.
You see.
This is seriously mind-blowing stuff I've been ignoring.
It's a whole psychological battlefield.
This whole psychological battlefield.
It is.
But how do I actually use this?
Practice and awareness.
Okay.
The more you understand these concepts,
Whoa.
you'll see them in your games. Even small adjustments can make a big difference.
So instead of just charging into battle,
Right.
I should be thinking about how to manipulate,
How to use their biases.
how to create surprise.
Add that layer of strategy.
I'm getting this cognitive warfare stuff.
Good.
But you also mentioned the OODA loop.
Ah, yes. The OODA loop.
What's that
A
exactly?
decision-making framework developed by a fighter pilot.
Okay.
Observe, orient, decide, act. It's about disrupting your opponent's decision cycle.
So they react to you.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
Not just reacting quickly, though.
Right.
It's about making faster, better decisions.
Okay.
And it starts with observation.
So paying attention to the mini-map, enemy movements, the terrain,
Everything.
everything happening around me.
But not just passively observing.
Okay.
You have to interpret, anticipate.
Okay.
That's where experience comes in.
So if I know the enemy usually pushes down a certain corridor,
Like on Karelia, for example.
yeah, I can anticipate their moves, set up an ambush.
You're one step ahead in the OODA loop.
Yeah, I see.
You've observed, oriented, and now you decide.
So do I wait for them to push into my trap? Or do I flank them while they're distracted?
That's the heart of the OODA loop, making the right decision quickly.
That's what gives you the edge.
It does.
Okay.
Yeah.
And once I've decided, swiftly and confidently.
No hesitation.
No second guessing.
The final piece of the OODA loop.
Okay, I'm seeing how it fits together.
It's a lot to process, I know.
It is.
But practice consciously.
Okay.
Don't just play. Think about how you're playing.
Analyze my decisions.
Yeah.
Think about the opponents.
Anticipate their moves.
Train my brain to think strategically.
To see the bigger picture.
The psychological game beneath the surface.
Exactly.
Incredible. But before we get too carried away with the mind games, remember the technology adoption curve.
Oh, right.
Applies to learning any skill.
Ups and downs.
Yeah, including how to play World of Tanks.
You'll have excitement.
Oh,
You'll have frustration.
I remember when I first started playing, I was so excited. Thought I'd dominate.
Peak of inflated expectations.
It was.
Full of enthusiasm, right.
Yeah.
But you don't quite grasp the complexity yet.
Yeah, I crashed hard into the trough of disillusionment.
The trough.
Getting destroyed every match.
Yeah.
Making stupid mistakes.
That's where a lot of players give up.
I know.
They get frustrated.
They think they'll never get better.
But the key is to persevere.
Oh, that trough.
On the other side is the slope of enlightenment.
And where things start to click.
Yes. Your skills get consistent.
Better decisions.
Yeah.
Real improvement.
But it's not just grinding battles, right?
Yeah.
It's about mindset.
Learning and improving.
Understanding the deeper stuff.
That's the key. The tech adoption curve shows us.
Yeah.
Mastering World of Tanks is a process.
A journey.
Continuous learning and improvement. And the players who embrace that.
My past frustrations wasn't that I was bad.
No.
It was part of the process.
Exactly. Now, armed with these insights, you're better equipped.
To reach that plateau of productivity.
Yes, consistently playing at a higher level.
Okay, so we've covered feints, diversion.
Cognitive biases, the OODA loop.
Yep.
Even the tech adoption curve.
That's a lot.
My brain is buzzing.
That's great. But we're not done yet.
But there's more.
In the final part.
Okay.
Even more specific tactics.
For leveling up our mental game.
And dominating on the battlefield.
Don't go anywhere, folks.
We'll be right back.
Okay, so we're back for the final part of this deep dive into the psychology of World of Tanks.
Yeah.
Give me those actionable strategies.
You got it. We've laid the groundwork.
I'm ready to crush my enemies.
Time to put those mental tools to work.
Let's do it.
Cognitive warfare tactics, right?
Right. How do I use them on the battlefield?
Let's get specific.
Feints and diversions, for example.
Right.
How do I actually pull those off?
Think about maps with flanking opportunities, mines, or even Prokhorovka with its open fields.
Okay.
You're in a medium tank, say an M48 Patton. You see enemy tanks pushing aggressively towards a key spot.
I'd normally fall back and regroup.
Right. That's what they expect.
Yeah.
But what if, instead of retreating, you push towards them?
Whoa, hold on. Aggressive?
That'd be suicide.
That's what they'll think.
Right.
That's the point of the feint.
Okay.
You're not actually engaging.
Oh.
Just a distraction.
So while they're dealing with me,
Yeah.
my team can flank them.
Precisely.
From another direction.
They're focused on the immediate threat.
Right.
They don't see the bigger picture.
It's like a bait and switch.
They realize it's too late.
I never thought about these tactics before.
Right.
It's like 4D chess.
It is.
Okay, what about cognitive biases?
Let's look at the confirmation bias.
Yeah.
People seek information. That confirms what they already believe.
Okay.
Say you're in a Tiger to second.
Okay, a heavy tank.
You're bouncing shots off that frontal armor.
Ah, that feeling of impenetrable armor.
Yeah, nothing beats it.
That sense of security can be dangerous though, right?
It can be a trap.
Okay.
Your opponent might think
Yeah.
that you're invincible from the front.
Right, because they can't penetrate.
They get fixated on that one piece of information. They ignore other possibilities.
So they keep firing at my strongest point.
Confirmation bias in action.
Even though it's not working.
They're blinded.
Okay.
And that's when you exploit it.
So I could, like, angle my tank a little.
Yeah.
Expose a weaker side.
Or beat them into close combat.
Where I'm more maneuverable.
Exactly.
It's like I'm messing with their minds.
You are.
Making them question things.
You're manipulating them.
Cognitive warfare.
The essence of it.
Okay. But the OODA loop.
Ah, yes.
How do I use it in the heat of battle?
It's a cycle, remember?
Right. Starts with observation.
But you also have to anticipate.
Okay, so if I see an enemy peeking,
Yeah.
I don't just react to their position,
You think about where they'll go next.
what their intentions are.
Map knowledge, situational awareness.
So if I know TDs like to camp in a certain spot,
On Himmelsdorf, yeah. Right, I can pre-aim my gun there.
that's using the OTA loop.
Ready to fire when they show up.
You've observed, oriented, decided.
And I'm ready to act before they can react.
Exactly.
It's like I'm seeing the future.
It is, in a way.
The OTA loop is about those split-second decisions.
That can win the battle.
This has been eye-opening. I've been missing so much.
There's a whole other dimension to the game.
It feels like I'm just now discovering it.
And this is just the beginning.
There's always more to learn.
The more you explore, the more you find.
That's what keeps it interesting.
It does.
Well, listeners, we've done it.
We have.
Explored the mind of a world of tanks player.
The limits of memory.
Cognitive warfare.
The OTA loop.
It's all about using your most powerful weapon.
The one between your ears.
Train it and watch your win rate soar.
Keep those strategies cunning.
Your tanks rolling.
Until next time.